discussing services including background checks, drug testing programs, workplace safety, risk prevention, investigative protective services, and much more. His experience and insight can help and strengthen your business security, reduce liability, and create a safer work environment. Please join me in welcoming Rob Slattery.
Stand here.
Wherever you want, buddy. Wherever you're comfortable.
Okay. The way I look at things like this, if you have a question, something pops into your head, ask it immediately. I mean, it's kind of informal, and I've sat and listened to speakers, and I'm like, oh, I got a question for them, and by the time you get that break, kind of slips your mind, and you forget. So, like Graham said, I've served in this community. I served in Cleveland Heights. When I worked in law enforcement, we were locking people up, and then when I went into the private sector, I ended up working for a bunch of defense attorneys and civil attorneys, and I ended up trying to get people out that were wrongly convicted. So I kind of have a wide range of things. Over my career, I've probably run in excess of 10,000 background checks in the private sector for employment, everything else. You know, you're looking at your businesses, your payroll and your cost of onboarding those are your biggest costs to cover. You're looking at liabilities. You know, the background reporting will get you risk mitigation. You run a background check and then there's different levels of background checks. You get what you pay for, what you're investing your money in. Criminal histories, you know, crimes of violence, whether there's any kind of fraud or theft on the criminal histories. You can verify resumes such as education or employment history. And I'm going to give you some statistics after just going through this list. The more you know about these people, whether you're onboarding or not, it lowers your chance of legal liability. Sadly, you know, we live it's a very litigious world, and people are looking for shortcuts and easy ways. They want to get on board, and there's people that just have bad intentions, and it could harm your company. Looking at productivity, I work for a company now, and I deal with their onboarding. And their onboarding, by the time you get a butt in the seat to start the onboarding, the company's really already spent roughly $5,000. Depending on some companies in the city of Brooklyn, whether it's fast food or whatever, you're probably a couple $100 easy to start something up. You're doing interviews, you're spending time, uniforms, going through training. Could be a couple $100 all the way up to a couple $1,000. And turnover. One of the companies I consult for, turnover is 107%. They can't keep people. I don't have that answer. I don't know why it's that way. But these background reports, all of this screening is going to save you in the long run. It's going to help you avoid things. Some of the issues that a lot of the employers face, there was a thing called ban the box. If anybody's ever dealt with applications and onboarding, they're trying to make it a little bit more of a level playing field for applicants coming in that have, a criminal history or something like that they don't have to admit it. So they had this action called ban the box to take off, are you a felon? So the way the law broke down is you can't ask that question right out of the gate. You have to conduct an interview, and then after the fact, you have them sign a waiver, they run a background check, and then you can discover what the criminal history is. But at least it's getting this person in, giving them the opportunity to, express their abilities and interest in a position. But then the truth comes out, and the way I look at it, I understand the logic behind the law and then the changing of that procedure, but it kind of puts the employers at a disadvantage. And facts matter. There's people out there that they have histories that you just would not want to invest and get them involved in your business. So it helps one group of people, but I don't think it levels the playing field enough in a fair manner. So, but there are roughly 95% of all employers run some form of background check, whether it's just an internal thing and you have somebody working for your company that knows how to look things up on, there's a lot of public dockets. You can go on Cuyahoga County and if you look and so I don't even know what your name is. Renee. Okay, so if I know where Renee, she's lived in, say, Lorain County, and then she moved to Cuyahoga County, and then she went out to Portage County. Okay, I could go on and look at all of those county dockets and see if there's any kind of civil filings or criminal filings, and you can kind of do, kind of it's the little poop and snoop kind of a thing. You can, dig around and, try to find things on your own, which I would suggest everybody get familiar with that kind of stuff, because you're going to save yourself a little bit of money. But there are roughly 30% of the people, there's 30% of the information that are on applications are lies or misinformation one way or another, whether, it's the way I've seen it. I've reviewed probably in excess of 12 to 15,000 background applications. And it's amazing to people, they after you interview them, they consider it rounding up. Well, I was like, I worked there for 2 years. No, you were there for 4 months and you lost a job for whatever reason. And it's really amazing what people put on these things. As far as employment and academic verifications, tons. I mean, 80% roughly of the applications have errors. Some of them, 11% of the employment issues and 8% of the education were due to incorrect dates, which is a simple thing. I mean, you look back and go, okay, you're filling an application out. Well, I worked in 2001, depending on, I wouldn't be able to sit down and be 100% correct with dates and times and things like that. So that goes with understanding. 46% of applicants have issues with either references or credentials, saying I have this certification or I have, whatever kind of a program under my belt. There's problems with that. But dealing with internal onboarding, 90% of theft within companies is internal. A lot of people think that we're going to have, you have a big box store. Okay, I can see a big box store, Home Depot, Lowe's, something like that. They have people coming in stealing generators or stealing stuff like that. Those are big ticket items. But the mom and pop, the small, most of the businesses we probably have in Brooklyn, outside of Key Bank and some of the larger ones, internal theft is the thing that's going to get you. So this is where the due diligence is going to come in on doing your background reports and spending a little bit of money to save yourself. And it just breaks down that facts matter. People have backgrounds, and some get over that. You make a mistake at 17, 18, 19 years old, and then, I was a dumb kid and I made a mistake. Should that follow them for the rest of their lives? Absolutely not. People can change, but you will see the red flags. You will see the signs that, okay, there's an issue here. Maybe they're not good for my business. You save yourself, like I said about the onboarding, with all of the hundreds up to thousands of dollars. You save yourself, excuse me, a lot of problems. All this also with the background checks, looking at the civil filings, everything like that, you can see if there's any workers' compensation filings. Workers' compensation the insurance is astronomical, but it's out of control. I mean, the workers' compensation claims, this is just the statistics from 2023 that I was able to grab. In Ohio alone, there was 84,800 workers' compensation claims in 2023. 48,200 of those were lost time or other restrictions to where the person could not do their job. 164 fatal injuries. Young workers filed, and I was kind of surprised to see this. Younger workers file claims twice as often as older employees. 35% of the claims originate from workers within their first year. And there's red flags there. If you spend the time interviewing and going through their background, you're gonna see. I mean, there's flags there. You sit across them and spend the time to deal with them. And with the workers' compensation, I'm kind of just roll into the drug testing. Pre-employment drug testing, there's technically 4 real areas or branches of the testing. The pre-employment, you want to know what's going on. Are they under the influence? Random drug testing. I've done it. For 14 years, I did drug testing for a bunch of different portfolios. There was companies, and it was more manufacturing. They would drug test 10 to 15% of their company every week. It's expensive, but the liability, they had injuries, they were dealing with presses, all kinds of stuff. Post-accident or injury, I would highly suggest if you have any injuries, send them for drug testing. It shouldn't even be a question of, well, in this instance, no, get yourself a policy, lock into it, have it written, squared away. If there's an injury, they go for drug testing. There's a lot of companies, and I'm not affiliated with any of these, LabCorp, Quest Diagnostic, On Demand. They will come right out to your job site and test on site. You secure them going into a private bathroom, and they provide a urine sample. They do a dip test. It's a presumptive positive. If it's a negative, that worker, unless there's a serious injury, they go right back to work. There's no loss of productivity. If it comes as a positive, it's a presumptive positive. I would suggest with your legal department, whatever you come up with your parameters and everything. If it's a presumptive positive, I would say they're unable to work pending further investigation. That sample is then split, sealed, signed off, and shipped to an MRO, medical review officer, who would either confirm that it is a positive test or they would say it was a false positive. I did it for 14 years, ran over 10,000 tests. I had 1 false positive in all of those. So if you get a good test kit, it is highly unlikely that it's going to be a false positive. So these are all things, like I said, all of these different businesses, you have to do everything you possibly can to protect yourself from, there's people that are looking for the easy way. They're looking to just make some money, get in, make a couple paychecks, maybe cause an injury.
I have a question about marijuana. With the changes in the laws, now that marijuana is legal, I'm seeing a huge amount of folks that can't even get through pre-hire testing because they're positive for marijuana.
Yeah.
Are we any closer to getting a test that tells you, because marijuana stays in your system so long?
Right.
Are we any closer to getting a test that can tell you if it's in their system now? You know what I mean? Because they may not necessarily be impaired at that time because they may have smoked 2 weeks ago. Does that make sense?
No, it does. I mean, are they impaired, or is it just kind of lingering in their system?
Yeah.
I am not aware of a test as of now that can say, it's a high concentration, what the exact concentration is. It's either normally just a positive or a negative. And with marijuana being legalized, I understand that adds just kind of a huge twist to the whole thing. I had a company that I did a ton of drug testing for. I mean, a ton. And they ran into the problem they couldn't keep people because of testing positive for marijuana. So and it was in manufacturing. And sadly, instead of just expanding their reach and saying, we got to get better quality candidates, they said, we're just not going to drug test anymore.
Oh.
And I said, this is a mistake. This is going to come back and bite you.
Yeah.
And what happened within 2 months, they had an injury where somebody lost their hand. And then they came to me and said, hey, we'd really like to rehire you. Could you work and backdate some paperwork? And I said, absolutely not. I will not do that.
Right.
You guys, I told you what was going to happen. You didn't believe me, but I've seen what you do now. I don't want to work with a company like that. It's because I'm not in it for, and the crazy thing is, and I said that my wife is in the background, and Cram I've been friends with for a long time. I didn't get into this business for money. I mean, obviously money pays the bills, does everything like that, but as far as, I'm good at what I do, but as far as the business part of it, like making the money and holding people accountable and just chasing the dollar, I'm terrible at that. I just am. I want to help people. I believe that knowledge is power, and you help people, you give them now the knowledge to make informed decisions. And that's where I'm at. Now, with the drug testing that I did, you could tell if it was a faint line, and then if it was a positive, you sent it to the lab. They could tell you, they would break it down and say you have, this metabolite and this level, and then they give you a therapeutic range for whatever drug it is.
Yeah.
And so you could do that, but by that point, you've got the presumptive positive, then you've got the positive in the lab. Doesn't really matter. You spent this money. Did you really want that person working for you?
Right.
And a lot of places are zero tolerance. And, the way they have it now, I mean, I don't think you could walk from here to PNC Bank and not smell somebody smoking marijuana.
Right.
I mean, it's just, I was on the phone with my wife on the way to work. I was on the highway going 62 miles an hour, and I smelled weed. How much are they smoking that I literally said, oh my gosh, this is amazing to me. It's everywhere. It's an unbelievably frustrating thing for employers to deal with, but all of the liability is on you guys. That's the nature of the beast. If somebody comes into work, if they're impaired, they fall down, they get behind the wheel of one of your delivery vehicles, they do whatever. And it goes with alcohol as well. I had a very expensive portable breath tester that I would take to sites, and we did random drug testing, reasonable suspicion, post-accident, and even near misses. I deal with a lot of places that have forklifts. So doing all of that. Did you have a question?
Not a question, more of a comment. I believe I just went through some training with somebody about like workers' compensation and whatnot. I believe there's a test that you can kind of avoid testing for marijuana now and do other major drugs and just take the marijuana test out.
I don't know if I want to take the marijuana test. I'm an ambulance company, so we're driving ambulances and caring for people. So I don't know if I want to know if you're impaired.
Yeah.
Legal tells you just treat it like alcohol, right?
Mhm.
But alcohol's completely different. If it's in there. I mean, the
Right.
test for alcohol
Right.
is much different than marijuana.
I'm a restaurant, so everybody smokes weed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a difficult spot to be in. I've been told that there is a test being tested that's supposed to tell you if it's more recent use, but that's all I know.
Yeah, I know that they're continuously trying to advance these tests, and there's been a bigger push, obviously, because of the whole situation of it being legalized now. Before it was yes, no.
Yeah.
Now it's, there's kind of some wiggle room there.
Right.
But the same thing with alcohol. But alcohol, you really can't lump those together. Alcohol, you metabolize the alcohol at 0.01. So if you're the legal limit of 0.8 in 8 hours, that's out of your system.
Right.
To where marijuana
Stay.
the THC will just kind of linger on.
I just have a question. So is your policy, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but do you have a zero tolerance policy for weed in
Yes.
general? So if the person has it in their
Impairment
system, they're done no matter what, right?
Impairment in any way.
Okay.
We test coming in, we test for cause. It just, it's just, this is the one. The other drugs are easy. We do a 10 or 12 panel test. It's very easy and straightforward to deal with, but this one is the one that keeps coming up, and that they're not, folks are not even getting in the door because they're EMTs, they're certified with the state, but they can't get past that drug test.
Yeah. No, and you're losing a lot of good candidates.
Yes.
And it's.
In an industry where we already have a shortage of EMTs and paramedics, it's like we're trying to find them everywhere we can, and it's proving to be difficult.
Yeah. No, I wish there was an easier answer. And
randoms?
We can. Our policy states we can. We don't do it. I don't do 5% of my staff, but it's usually full cause. any moving violation, we'll test it, that kind of thing.
There is a program that you can buy, and I'll have to go back. I don't have it committed to memory. I haven't used it in a while, but it was a computer program I downloaded onto my computer. And this company, I would deal with a lot of manufacturing companies, and they would send me, I didn't want any names. So this way, it's not like I'm picking on Susie or Johnny or whatever. They would just, each employee had a 6-digit employee code. They would give me all the codes and I would punch them all in, and then they would tell me, okay, this person left, or we added this person. So the list it was a living thing. It continually would change. But then they'd say, we're going to do 7% of the company this week. And I would just hit 7%, boom, and it would kick out 7% of those numbers. And and it was completely random, but some of the people I would go over and as soon as I'd walk in, I wouldn't know their names. And to be honest with you, 6-digit numbers, 250 people, I'm not smart enough to remember, hey, I did this number before. And I'd show up and it'd be the same person. I'd be like, oh, okay, I've tested this person 3 times. I know this is going to be boom, boom, I'm going to be in and out. But it was completely random. And it really, when I first started doing it, I had my little black briefcase and I would walk in with my test kits and everything, and nobody knew who I was. And all of a sudden, boom, guy's fired, this guy's fired, this guy's fired, and then we thinned the herd a little bit. And then every time I got there, I'm like, oh, somebody's going to lose their job. Well, it got to the point, they backfilled all those positions, but they got so serious about the drug testing that the terminations ended. They just got good people and they knew, hey, this is a good job. I want to keep it. I'm not going to partake in that anymore because I want the job. But part of that is salaries kind of have to, if it's a $10, $11, $12 an hour job, heck, you can go to Taco Bell now and make $15 an hour. So, and I could still kind of have my recreational life. So, people are kind of weighing that to where, can I have my cake and eat it too? So, there's no perfect way to go about this. I just suggest you protect yourself. You make yourself harder targets for people to get over on you. I don't know, maybe entertain a random drug testing. You could, I don't know what company you use, and I'm not asking you to say what company you use for the drug testing. Contact them, see if they have some sort of program to random it, or you could buy one in your computer. It just kicks the numbers out, and then you just go.
Do our own testing, unless it's a positive, and then we send it out.
Send it to you. So you have an MRO on staff that you use as needed. Yeah, that's exactly how mine was set up as well.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, it's not that expensive.
No.
I think for the MRO, for a confirmation, I think I paid like $11 a test.
Mm-hmm.
And that $11, they were so locked in and it was challenged so very little, that $11 for the test, if this were to go to court and somebody was to file a civil wrongdoing for wrongful termination, that doctor would come in and testify. And that happened once in over 10,000 tests. And the company was found to be well within their rights. Anybody else have any questions, comments? All right, well, I appreciate the opportunity to come in here. This was kind of just thrown together of, hey, we don't have a speaker. And I said, I'm a talker. I'll get up there and give it a wing. So I appreciate this opportunity. And if my number is 216-906-2577. If you guys have any questions, if I can help you guys in any way, shape, or form. Not looking to get customers, anything like that. I just like to help people. And if I can help in any way, shape, or form, please reach out. Thank you.
Rob is very knowledgeable and very scarily well connected. There was a couple times I had a couple of issues with some people. And, hey, Rob, can you find out this? And within an hour, he found it out. It was kind of creepy, but it's good. It's good to have him on your speed dial.
It's all
I don't think Crom's ever described speakers as creepy.
Yes,
before.
that was it. Yes.
It's all used for good.
All good. It was all good. It was all good. If you guys can indulge me for a minute, I do want to ask Ms. Supriya to come up here for a few minutes. The Brooklyn City Schools are on March 5th is going to have a career fair, and it's a pretty cool, unique one this year. The first time they're going to do on-the-spot interviews. So I want her to come up here and talk about that for a few minutes, if you don't mind.
Thank
Supriya?
you. You've kind of shared all the information.
Oh, sorry, just Supriya, come up here, that's all I had to say.
Well, as long as you're not described as creepy, I think you're okay.
No, I'm gonna, see if I can get away from that adjective. Hi, everyone. I'm from Brooklyn City Schools, Supriya Pelican. We are having our 4th annual career and college resource fair. This time, we're having a little bit of a new twist to it. We're having on-the-spot interviews, and currently we have about 9 local employers who are going to come there and sit down and do on-the-spot interviews with our students and our community. So the fair is not just for our student population, our school community, but also for community members in Brooklyn. Everybody is welcome, and if you want to have a table, we have several spots left. If you would like to be present and just kind of come in and have a spot, please contact me. For those who are not here with us and watching online, you can call me at 216-485, and I always have to look, 8134. And then I also have flyers for anybody here, and you can I think you've got one. You want another one? Oh, good, okay. So if you can check us out, and we would love to have you. And I'll leave a few of my cards around as well. I noticed that my specific email's not in there. So I've got some cards for you, and I'm gonna leave them right here by the Dunkin' Donuts. Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
letting me have a few minutes.
Yeah, the last couple of years, we've had parents join the career fair as well as the students, and a lot of the parents were able to get jobs at that career fair, and we're very happy with a couple of the clients that were there. So thank you so much, Supriya.
Thank you.
You do a great job at that. Thank you. Okay, so if anybody, just real quick, if anybody here has any announcements regarding their business, anything coming up, anything that you want to share, you're more than welcome to take a couple seconds and do that if anybody wants to do that. Dr. Claris?
Hi, everybody. Ted Claris, Superintendent Brooklyn. We're going to be having a spring community open house on March 21st from 11 to 1, just to kind of take a look at our new renovated gym, take a tour of the facility. We have a community craft fair that day, and then we have an event for our K through 7 kids. So it's going to be kind of a big community open house. But if you're interested in coming to see the facilities or what's happening with our facilities, love to have you, okay? March 21st.
Saturday.
It's a Saturday, 11 to 1, yes.
Thank you, Dr.
Well, I have a
Claris.
question for Dr. Ted. I
Yeah.
saw that there's a community event at the preschool. on
Yes, this Thursday, it's a community resource fair for our early childhood students. So anybody, if you have a preschooler, kindergarten, first grade, more than welcome to come to the new facility, new early child center in 5 to 7 this Thursday. Yeah.
If you do have any family or students that go to Brooklyn, or you're just part of the community, it will be a benefit for you to go out there and take a look at what they've done with the school. The gym looks amazing. I went to a high school gym the other day and I was like, ours looks so much better. So it's just it's a new feeling, because I went to school there back in the 90s, and it was the same from, I think, the 50s. I mean, it was horrible. So it's just a huge upgrade, and it looks really good, and there's more coming. I told Dr. Ted the other day that I'm so excited they're going to redo the auditorium, and that's what I'm really, really excited about. It's going to be a featured place for us, and the community's going to be able to see what the school's doing. It's just an awesome place. So if you get the opportunity, you can come to that open house.
And shout out to Mr. Travis Rooney and Mr. Slattery, who was part of the board at the time to kind of drive that renovation project. So these guys are definitely part of that process.
Thank
So
you.
Thank you to you guys.
Appreciate that. Anybody else with their business or organization? Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. Our meeting is officially over in terms of the formal part, but please stay here as long as you want for networking. I see a couple new faces, so I would like for you guys to introduce yourselves to the others, and we'll see you at the next meeting next month. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Shall we get back?
Good job.